All right, there we are. Welcome in another episode of TigerBait Live. Got a lot to discuss tonight. What a run Brian Kelly and his staff, all the guys and player personnel at LSU. Just a month ago, LSU fans full of anxiety, and now they've got one of the top 10 recruiting classes in the country and still building. I think there's some other big dominoes that could be dropping well within a week. And so LSU now with 15 commitments for the class of 2023. 2024 is also being built. And so we got a lot to discuss tonight here on TigerBait Live. I'm going solo. Buddy's taking off this week. He'll be off back in next week. And, of course, Brian Kelly and will be at SEC Football Media Days on Monday. So we'll have about 3 days of SEC Football Media Days to discuss on next week's show. And then from there, we're only a few weeks away from the start of fall camp. Not sure of what the exact date of that is going to be. Probably somewhere around August 5th or 6th, just guessing, with LSU having a Sunday night game against Florida State in the Superdome. So we're going to discuss all that tonight and more. I'm going to get to as many of your questions as you can. So do me a favor, please, if you're enjoying the show, hit the like button. Also, please hit the subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube and the notification bell. And do the same if you're watching us on Facebook. We simulcast to both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. You get a better experience on YouTube. And, of course, we're here each and every week thanks to Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez. And, as always, they're going to continue to run that promo. I got two guys I need to get set up today that are hopping all over getting a free roofing inspection from Pride Roofing. And when they call in 855-PRIDE-16 and say they saw it on TigerBait, they're getting TigerBait Premium free for a year. That's a $99 value, so you cannot beat it. And, of course, I encourage all of you to go to TigerBait and subscribe. A lot of activity on our Tiger Den Premium message board. You can try us out for $1, and we're just weeks away from kicking it into a whole other gear. New additions and more coming your way in time for football season. All right, guys, let me scroll up and get to some of your comments. Donald LeBlue, good afternoon from Moses Lake, Washington. All right. M. Franswell, watching from Vegas. Love the show, guys. Go Tigers. Glad to have you with us. Rick Cloetti, let's go, Mike. Rick, I guarantee I say it different every week, don't I? Aaron Long, you both do a great job. I enjoy the show. Of course, I think he posted that before he saw Buddy wasn't here. Nurse Court, what's up, family? Glad to have Nurse Court with us. And holding it down, sans Mr. Buddy, huh? Absolutely. Aaron Long, I wonder if there is any correlation between the NIL rules changing for LSU and the sudden spike in commitments. There might be. I don't think so. I think that might just be timing. I really think this staff, after they went through the spring evaluation period, after they went through the June camps, hosted a lot of official visitors in June as well. And once they got back as a staff and had meetings and reshuffled their board and talked about who was where, who they needed to move up, who they needed to move down, who they were in on better than they thought, who were they really not doing a good job on, redouble their efforts, and then I think that's when they made the push. And I think what you're seeing, it's not just at LSU, it's all over the country. Everybody's getting a slew of commitments in the month of July. And because the recruiting calendar has been sped up so dramatically since the addition of the December signing period, this is the time of year where most of them, most guys will make their decision. They want to get to their own fall camps. High school practices start about the same time colleges do. And a lot of those guys have seen enough. They've been on enough visits. And that's another thing we've been seeing a lot of in the last few years is a lot of kids, and it doesn't matter where they're from. You know, I remember it being where a lot of kids could not get to a school like LSU or anywhere without going on an official visit because they couldn't get transportation. Parents, couldn't afford airfare. Look at the rate of unofficial visitors from kids who are flying in from all over the country compared to what we used to see 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even just 5 years ago. I mean, it really is astonishing to me how that's come about. Golden Boot Pod, Mike Nobody in the building. Glad to have you with us, Pooh Bear. Dane Bergeron, hello, Mike. I want to give a shout out to my longtime board moderator, James, Tigers 038087. Went under the knife this morning for heart surgery and came out of it very, very well. Everything went to plan. So glad to hear that he is recovering well. He's been in all of us on TigerBait's thought and prayers. Yeah, Mike Smith. Buddy is watching the show tonight on his burner account. Scott Tronhall, ready for a great show. Best staff since Saban's. Arsenal and others are super hires for recruiting. Absolutely, Scott. Thanks for bringing that up. That is one of the things that I think, and I've tried to bring those guys up. Arsenal, Bobby, Sherman Wilson, and multiple others in that building that do a great job as additionally recruiting kids. It's not just the position coaches that are big factors in recruiting. You've got player personnel guys that are on the phone, texting and DMing and phone calls just as much as your position coaches. And so I'm glad to see that those guys are getting recognized. And those are just some of the guys. There's a lot of women in the building that are a part of the recruiting staff. A lot of men and women that are doing a great job for LSU football, particularly right now. A lot of coaches are on the road on vacation. A lot of those guys that we're talking about are in the building every day working. So, let's see what we got here. Ray Powell, Brad Davis is needing to get on the board with a commitment soon. I know he is working it. I don't think you're going to be waiting long. I think Zalance Hurd from Neville, I believe, has been a guy that I don't think you're going to wait long for him. I know 6 weeks ago people were wringing their hands about him. I've heard nothing but positive overtures as far as where LSU sits with him. In my mind, he's a must-get in the state of Louisiana. And, of course, we talk about him. We talk about Tyree Adams. It's St. Aug. But I think there's a sleeper offensive lineman out there that is currently committed to Purdue from Dutchtown High School, and Ethan Fields. I know he's a guy that's on LSU's board that they're going to continue to recruit. But I think he's one to watch out for. I think he might be better than some of the other guys on their board, to be honest with you. A hard worker. I talk to people that are out at Dutchtown. They say that this kid is constantly out there working beyond the hours of anybody else. You can go to the school and nobody's there, and he's back there working. And so he's an offensive lineman that I can't wait to go check out this coming football season. Just from the film that I've seen of him, film of him at Alabama's camp, I think he's another one that Purdue is coming to Louisiana, and has a commitment from him and Ricky Collins, who LSU's and Joe Sloan are hard recruiting and wanting to flip and have him be a part of LSU's class from right here at Baton Rouge Woodlawn. Mike, was the kid from Miami committing a surprise to you? Yeah, it actually was, to be honest. I was probably downplaying him a good bit probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I think it was last Wednesday morning, midday Wednesday, started hearing some things, and sure enough, you end up getting him on board, and he's a guy that Cristobal and that whole Miami staff highly coveted. And when you go into South Florida and get a kid like that, with all the excitement they've got towards the Miami Hurricane program right now, kudos to Coach Hankton and all the other coaches on the LSU staff and player personnel that helped that get it done. Nurse Court, so funny that A&M fans are literally already resigned to Jimbo going 9-3 and being satisfied this season. Wow. Yeah, they make a big deal out of beating Alabama last year, but they lose 4 games, including to a LSU team with the you want to really go down that starting lineup of that team that LSU put on the field that beat them. You guys know I'm not high on A&M. I won't be as long as Jimbo Fisher is in charge of the offense and calling the plays. I just don't. I think he's the closest thing to Les Miles currently in the SEC when it comes to calling plays. Entirely too conservative. I answered that question, Juwan. Hearns, any offensive line commitments in the near future? I really like where LSU is with Hurd. I really like where LSU is at right now. I'll tell you what, let's go down the list real quick. I talked about Tyree Adams. I think LSU's in a good spot for him. I'm not ready to put in a prediction and make it a solid prediction LSU for him, but I think LSU has done all the work that can be done there right now. I really think right now the guy to watch is Paul Mabinga from Buford, Georgia. Of course, we saw Dellinger's little brother commit to Michigan State last week, and so we're going to see what happens with TJ Shanahan and a few others. But I think Hurd, Mubinga, and Adams are some to watch right now. Bisontis from New Jersey. And so that's some of the guys to watch out for right now. Nurse Court, buddies, hashtag no burner. Yeah, he swears up and down he does not have a burner Twitter account. He claims he can get in y'all's Twitter spaces without one. I don't know. Buddy's a hacker. Rick Cloetti, Mike, we're seeing the results of a great alignment across the board in the athletic building and administration. Absolutely. Look, I think there was a lot of excitement going into this past recruiting year. Even, with Ed Orgeron coming off that bad year, Jay Johnson just got hired, Kim Mulkey had just gotten hired. And so now you add Brian Kelly, year 2 of Kim Mulkey, and all the excitement that's going on there and the huge number of additional tickets they're selling for the women's basketball team. Now they're going to go to Bahamas. I'm hearing people saying they want to go to the Bahamas over Thanksgiving to see Kim Mulkey's team play over there. Jay Johnson, what he's doing in recruiting and the transfer portal, waiting to see what's going to happen with the MLB draft. A lot of excitement there. A lot of people think that they're, starting to pencil them in for Omaha and people booking trips to Nebraska. So we'll see. Kenny Russell. Mike, do you see Derek Williams get back in the fold? I do. It's not a slam dunk that it happens. But New Iberia, Louisiana, Westgate, this staff, we'll see how it plays out. But look, there's something else that you see about this staff. We've seen with numerous prospects for the class of 23 that don't come to Boys from the Boot, don't come to junior day, don't come to spring games, don't come for official visit, don't come to camp, don't come and participate in camp. And at some point they're going to say, look, we don't need you. And I think they've gotten to that point with multiple kids, and they're not going to beg anybody. They don't have to. They're recruiting very well nationally. And look, you don't like to see guys like him get away. I maintain if you lose a guy like Zalance Hurd, that's a bigger deal. But I'm never going to fly off the handle or think fans should fly off the handle if you lose a wide receiver or a defensive back from the state of Louisiana, just because this state produces them. Now, having said that, this state is a little down this year in that regard, which is odd. But look what they're doing out of state to meet those needs, and then we're also going to see maybe what they do in the portal. We're all focused on the high school commitments and what the future high school class is going to be. But what does the portal look like come second or third month of 23 once they've done some work there as well? Reed Wilson, Kai Prina's next. I put in a prediction for Kai, I guess about 3 weeks ago to LSU. I don't know what his timetable is going to be, but I was probably 3 or 4. It was whatever the day of the 7-on-7 camp was at LSU. I put in a prediction for LSU that afternoon. I just think that's if it's total 100% up to Kai, there's no doubt in my mind it's LSU. Blaine Smith, I really hope we recruit centers on a yearly basis from now on. I think you're going to have some guys there that can play that position, and maybe some guys that are combo center and guards. There we go, another Kai Preen question, and a guy who I really think does not get talked about enough. And look at that, back-to-back. Phillips Clinton, why doesn't LSU have Kyle Preens committed yet? That's a good question. I don't know what's being said in the home, what's going on with dad, mom, what those discussions are like. Like I said, I think if it was 100% up to Kai, he'd probably be committed by now and locked in. I think LSU's going to get that done. And Frank Wilson's recruiting him, Coach Hankton. Scotty Braid, Mike, I think we need a run-stuffing defensive tackle in this class. Guys committed are big ends. Are we done on the defensive line? No, I don't think they're done. And you're right, although I think Reed is kind of a Jaquelin Roy type. What is he, about 270, 275 right now? Where does he max out? How does he get lined up once he gets here? We'll see. But no, they are far from done there. Bart Smokey, where does Holstein end up now that Reed got another quarterback? I don't know. Does he stick? What kind of conversation did Nick Saban have with Eli Holstein and his dad leading up to them getting a second quarterback? It's going to be very, very interesting. And I'm talking to a Notre Dame source today. Notre Dame and multiple other schools are out there looking for quarterbacks. And so if the Holsteins want to move a third time, I don't think they'd have a problem finding a spot. Let me see. Let me get to some of these. Juan Hearns, first and foremost, please spell my name correctly. Laugh online. Second, I'm satisfied with the staff as well as some of us is just a little concerned with the OL status. We're all entitled to our opinions. Absolutely. And a lot of people have them. Of course, we're here each and every week thanks to Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez with Pride Roofing. And let's go ahead and hear from both those guys.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle, and metal inventory. We got it.
Property still in disarray from the recent hurricanes and hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. So Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait, and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla Espanol.
There you have it. Mike and Alex talked to both of them earlier today. And it's just, first of all, I'm absolutely proud to be a part of in a partnership with those guys. The growth that they are seeing in their business is absolutely phenomenal. And two great guys care about the job that they do. Of course, Mike is a Broadmoor High School graduate, an LSU grad, and based in Albany, Louisiana, a Louisiana company. And giving them a chance to earn your business. Of course, now that they've acquired the sheet metal company right across the highway in Albany, they're expanding. And no matter where you are in South Louisiana, south of Alexandria, they've gotten a few jobs in Alexandria as well with the hail damage that was suffered last month. But all the way to Lake Charles, Orange, Texas, Gulf Coast, Mississippi, all the way up to Jackson, give them a call. And of course, certainly their biggest area is the North Shore, Mandeville, Madisonville, Covington, Albany, Hammond, with them being located where they're at. But they're expanding. They've got offices in Lafayette, right here in Baton Rouge, satellite offices everywhere, and adding new trucks, new personnel, new salespeople. And they've got a full yard of shingles. You're not going to be waiting 3 or 4 months for them to get you some shingles, and they're not going to provide you anything that is built or grade. Give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about it on TigerBait.com, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium for a year for free. They're paying for it, so you cannot beat that. Thanks to Mike and Alex. All right, guys, let me scroll up and get some more of your comments here. Yeah, Scott, since moving back to Baton Rouge, I find injury lawyers and roofers are some highly competitive businesses. Yeah, it is. And LSU websites. Don't forget LSU websites. Highly competitive. Rick Kelly, Mike on Nick Diaz's show, Out of My League, he was singing your praise very highly about how much your recruiting knowledge and insight is. Well, I appreciate that. I know Nick for a while there was in Lafayette at the station there, and he does a good job. So, but I appreciate the kind words. Scott Tronholt says, "What are your thoughts on our quarterback haul thus far? It seems a tad weak to me. They're far from done, but I also do think that depending on how things play out with all the newcomers that have been infused in the program now, and you're going to lose some of those. Is that going to be another position where they go into the portal on top of some of the high school kids that are there? But that's a position also where we've seen repeatedly where right out of high school kids can come in and be highly effective and be honorable mention or second team All SEC right off the bat. In LSU's case, is first team All SEC. So that's another position. I don't believe they're far from done there. And of course, they're still recruiting Jordan Matthews at Woodlawn, although I think Stanford is looking pretty darn good with him right now. Preston caught him coming out of the theater the other night wearing all Stanford gear. Of course, a lot of these guys have gear for a lot of schools, but there's a heavy Stanford pull right now. And LSU's got some ground to make up after offering just last month, reoffering. Marcus Stewart, Kai Preen State Auburn is recruiting him the hardest. I don't know. What time period is that? I know LSU's done a darn good job with him also. So, let's see. Phillips Clinton asked Mike, guess how many players Texas had drafted the NFL this year? They had 0. LSU had 10. I think we had that same comment in last week's show, didn't we? That's absolutely true. Speaking of Texas, I'm just laughing at Mike Farrell stepping in it on the Arch Manning deal. And you guys that watch me each and every week, I think maybe I've done it a little bit more tactful when talking about Arch. But I got a call from Glenn Gilbo this morning needing a quote or two for me for a story he was working on for Outkick, talking about LSU's recruiting. And he said, man, you were saying that a month ago. I said, yeah. I said, but I think I worded it a little bit different, and I didn't go as far as Mike saying he was a 3-star. I hedged my bets a little bit and said he was a low 4. But the rest of it is exactly what I said. And it's amazing to watch folks contort themselves to back up their regional and national analysts for putting Arch number 1. And the part I really hate about this is that it seems like we're picking on that kid. I know I say it almost every week. Somehow Arch Manning comes up, but it's unfair to him because we're all debating his ranking and saying he's not all that or saying he's all that. It's unfortunate, but I've seen Jeff Ketchum over at Orange Bloods do a show on YouTube getting after Farrell and the Arch haters, and I don't think that's what it is at all. And I will say for every guy who says their recruiting analyst saw Arch and think he's the number 1 player, I've got about 6 assistant coaches at various places throughout the country who say the opposite. So, but I do hedge my bets. I'm not going to go as far as say he's a 3. I'm going to say he's a 4. And I don't like the velocity that he's got on his ball. I just don't. And so we'll see. And that's on top of the competition at Newman and all that. But that's my take. We'll see. Maybe I'll have big egg on my face in 3 or 4 years. American Patriot, big thanks for the super chat. Great show, Mike. Everyone hit the like button. Absolutely. Thanks for that, American Patriot. He's one of our guys each and every week. And always those super chat dollars, believe me, they add up over time. We do a show every week. We've got new microphones. We put all that stuff right back into the show. So very much appreciative of that, American Patriot. Let's see what else I needed to talk about tonight. Let me get to some more of your comments. Doug knows Sark is going to have 2 of the 3 highest rated recruits as his quarterbacks, he's going to be job hunting if he can't make that work. Yeah, I don't know what the expectations are in Austin. Certainly, their schedule can help them get some wins. But, they've got Baylor and other teams on that schedule that can give them losses very easily each and every week. That's going to be an interesting one to follow, though, Baylor. Aranda's now he did inherit some players. We're going to see how good of a recruiter Dave Aranda's been now that he's been over there for several years. Phillips Clinton asked Mike, doesn't it seem that these recruiting agencies have a bias against LSU? I think it depends. I know I've been a lot more vocal about recruiting networks in the last 6 months or so. And part of the reason why I have been, and you guys have heard me probably say it if you watch the show, I think we're about to see a stretch in the next 2 or 3 years where the rankings are going to be probably as least accurate as they've been in a long time. And I'm not just saying Louisiana. I think it's across the entire country. There's multiple new networks, networks out there that are the oldest and have been out there the longest. Their staffs are now smaller. They haven't been sending kids to Louisiana. They haven't been sending staff to Louisiana. They don't go to high school games. They're watching huddle tape. Going to T-shirt camps in June doesn't cover you. I'm sorry. And I see some of the rankings, and I know a lot of people say, well, where's yours, Mike? I'm going to put out a top 15 or so right before the start of the football season, and then I'll probably do a revised version if I need to in December before signing day. But look, there's sometimes there's some guys I disagree with, and we're not really that far off, so I'm not going to really squawk about it. If there's a difference between my guy who's number 3 and his guy's number 6, and you're talking about the state of Louisiana, are we really? I mean, we're slicing the onion pretty thin. But for the most part, when you look at now having 4 national networks, of course, ESPN's always been the dregs of society. They don't have anybody working for them. But look at the territories of the guys that they have now. The network that's been out there the longest. They've got a guy. You probably need 3 guys just in the state of California to do that state right. How many of them have guys in the state of Florida that aren't team site guys like me? I'm not counting having a guy who runs a team site like me. I'm talking about a guy that his only job is to be a nonpartisan recruiting analyst, and he's got a state is his territory. I mean, we're looking at some of those guys out west that got like 6 or 7 states. You got some guys that will have states like Florida, and then they'll have junior college and college basketball. I mean, some of the stuff that you see out there is just astonishing to me. And so as there's more networks that get added, the budgets get smaller. They're not sending guys out. And so then you get into the whole game. Okay, you could probably sit in your living room and say, okay, well, who offered him? Who offered that kid? And be pretty darn close to what, at times, what it is. But I think that's primarily what we're seeing. A lot of guys doing evaluations off huddle highlight tape, and it got worse during COVID. Make no bones about it. You had guys out there that weren't going out because of COVID, and the insurance plans for their company would not let them go out and cover. So, yeah, it's bad. Ahmad Rashad, Jaden Daniels will start. Well, I think there's some Miles Brennan folks and some Garrett Nussmeier folks that would think differently. Let's see. LA Mom 2020 at Doug, I think Jimbo is going to be in the same spot. All those 5-star players, he better put up some wins now. But what does Jimbo have to do to get in hot water? I mean, I tend to think he can go 8-4, 9-3 on average almost every year and never be in hot water, because that really would make him one of the winningest coaches in A&M history if he does that. You know, they're going to keep pointing to that Orange Bowl appearance during the COVID year is like a signal that they've arrived. But then you follow that up with a 4-loss season and a loss to LSU with how many walk-ons on the field? Phillips Clinton asked Mike, I've seen Newman play live a few times the past couple of years. There's no way Arch is the number one player or quarterback in the country. If his last name wasn't Manning, he would be a 3-star. Yeah. Look, I am going to give him the absolute benefit of the doubt when it comes to being a Manning, a family full of quarterbacks, the pedigree, being able to lean on his dad, even though his dad was a receiver, going to Manning passing academies, watching football with his uncles, being around the sport his entire life. There is absolutely a lot to say for that. But at the end of the day, when you take the ball from center and you got to throw it out in the flat and you better have some mustard on it, can he get it there? You know, I do like his deep ball. He can drop it over the shoulder better than anybody. I mean, he's absolutely got a pretty deep ball. But, you know, go watch the tape against LCA and some others. I mean, there's a lot to make you scratch your head and say, hey, you might want to pull back on making him the number one overall player in the country. And I would have liked to have seen him go to the Elite 11 and be put through all those drills and see how he would have fared there. Kenny Russell, Mike, are you leaning towards us ending up with a top 5 recruiting class? I don't know that they can get there. Maybe they can. I think it's going to be difficult with what the state's giving them, but maybe so. You know, where do they end up at the quarterback spot? Look, you got 2 great running backs in this class. I like Trey Holly. I think both he and Caleb can go up in the rankings. I don't see those guys dropping. Shelton Sampson, once he comes on board, and he is on the clock. I don't know how much longer that one's going to go, but it ain't going to be much longer, I don't believe. So there's enough guys out there, some of the offensive linemen, that can really make this class hum as far as scaling up even further. So, you know, look at the average star rating of the current commitments. I tend to think maybe it could be somewhere in that 7, 8, 9 range at the end of the deal, but maybe I'm wrong, and there's going to be something else in there that really is a catalyst for getting it inside the top 5. We'll see. All right, guys, you know what time it is. It's time for me to talk about Tony Freeman. So if you're thinking of buying a home, refinancing your current mortgage, but haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about my dear friend Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial. She's someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs over and over. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer ready to buy a new home or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And tell her you heard about her right here on TigerBait.com. Please tell her you heard about her from us. NMLS number 104765, equal housing opportunity 70876, and she's the absolute best. And with the way things are going with inflation, interest rates, she's the one that you want to talk to. She's going to get you dialed in, locked in, make sure you get your paperwork closing as soon as anybody. She's absolutely the best there is in the Baton Rouge area, and she is licensed in multiple other states, not just Louisiana. If you're buying property in Mississippi, Texas, and multiple others, give her a chance. She can take care of you, even though she's right here in Baton Rouge. Let me get to some more of your comments. Let me scroll down. Bill Frere, who is the next to commit? I just talked about Shelton Sampson. I don't know if it's tomorrow. I tend to think that one is not going to go very long. Maybe he's the next, maybe he's not. but he's in the mix there to discuss all that stuff that was trending on Sunday on Twitter and with him. There's some stuff behind that. So, and what a big time receiver. And of course, what are you getting there? You're getting a very, very high 4-star kid. Could he possibly a 5-star on one of the networks? I think so. If he has a big time senior year, he's got a quarterback that can throw it to him at Catholic High, and they're going to be looking to win another state championship. So we're going to see how that plays out. Dylan Smith, what's up, guys? Glad to have you with us, Dylan. B. Bean, LSU is the only team to win a national championship with their last 3 coaches, and that's part of the reason why Brian Kelly, the winningest coach in Notre Dame history, left South Bend to become the LSU coach. Clock's ticking. 60 years old, wants a chance to win a national championship. Ray Greer, LSU, TigerBait still the best for videos. Absolutely. Our schedule that we're going to be going out and filming in the fall is extensive, and I'm adding and moving things around and adding more camera people. So we're going to be bringing a lot to you in the coming months. Let's see. Scott Tron, sounds like the dollars we pay for these sites is not enough to justify spending a lot of guys on the roads evaluating high school kids. There's a lot of guys running individual websites on networks that do darn good jobs. The problem becomes it's the regional guys. Where are they located? How many high school games are they getting out to in a year? There's guys that I will sing the praises of because I see them more than anybody at games. And then there's others where like I haven't seen a high school game in a decade. I haven't seen a high school game in 3 years. Man, yeah. The biggest network didn't have a guy here for the last 3 cycles. Crazy. Kenny Futch, good evening, Mike. Glad to have you with us, Kenny. Edward O, where's Buddy going on his date tonight? I'm not sure. He'll do Italian, he'll do Mexican. He likes to do Mexican a lot midweek. Nurse Court Daniels can, but had to get an offer. They don't write themselves. SEC Homer, Shelton might go to Bama. He posted a picture of him wearing their rings a few days ago. Yeah, I wouldn't bite on that. I would not bite on that at all. Nurse Court, our team decided they wanted Shelton Sampson. Reed Wilson, Ricky Collins. You know, I talked about Ricky a little earlier. I watched his film, everything that was out there from the Elite 11. I think he afforded himself very well. And like I've been saying for months, he is absolutely in the catbird seat. There's a lot of college coaches from big-time programs that are descending on Woodlawn High School, or they will be once the dead period drops, because they're going to want to double their efforts to see if they can get in on all the schools trying to flip him from Purdue. Him, the kid that's committed to Baylor, the kid from Memphis, and several others have seen their stock rise tremendously as each one of these quarterbacks that are supposedly your elite guys have come off the board. Bo Swindle, by the way, guys, Jack Best, Mike Jones Jr., and Ojulari will represent the Tigers at LSU Media Days. Absolutely, and all 3 of those guys are excellent interviews. I think they picked very well. I think that they'll represent LSU very, very well next week. And we talked about it yesterday. Early today, I was on Buddy's show, and I wonder, is there a possibility that we actually might have a fan day, media day, a traditional one? Because one thing we've seen from Brian Kelly, if he's got his work done and he feels like he can get it in the number of days he needs, the reason why you haven't had a fan day and a media day in multiple years now is because that counts as a practice day. I wonder if we might see the return of that. I need to call somebody at LSU, but he talks about wanting to get his practices over, and if he only needs 90 minutes to do it, he's not going to grind his kids. And I wonder if he might see somewhere wedged in there in the last couple of weeks or at the midway point of fall camp where he might take a day off and use that to get his team and his coaches in front of the fan base. So, all right, guys, let's see what we got here. We got another getting spammed again. I took care of him. Hey, Mike, Phil Tittle. Hey, Mike, am I crazy to think that Whit Weeks would make a great safety? Looking at video, he has great speed, tackles well in the open field, and pursues well. I think he's going to get bigger. I think 10 to 15 pounds is going to come quick. He's one of those hybrid guys that years ago you would have said was a safety, but now those guys built like him end up being your linebackers. But Georgia wanted him bad, and many other schools. That was a nice pickup. This staff isn't just picking up kids because of nepotism or a brother or this or that. They really, Coach House and those guys are excited about him big time. Let's see. Reed Wilson, Colin Jackson is LSU's fallback if Williams sticks with Texas. Yeah, I don't know if I would put him in the fallback category. They're certainly recruiting Colin very, very hard. He's certainly one that I really would looking forward to see later in the year. And like Rick says, back to the previous question, Whit will be that rover linebacker type. Nurse Court, so excited for high school football. Trey Guy, Mike, we have a great fan day whenever you do a show. Thank you, Trey. We're going to add more shows. I'm probably going to do some things once football season and football camp gets here where I might pop on and do a live show for 15 or 20 minutes just because there's stuff that's backing up and we need to get out. We're going to be doing a lot more interviews with players, recruits, right here where we patch those guys in using our studio. So there's going to be a lot more product on our YouTube channel and here on Facebook. Some of the stuff, though, I'm just going to go live, or it'll be segments that we put only on YouTube. So you definitely want to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. And our YouTube channel is growing by leaps and bounds, and it's going to get even bigger once we get into fall camp just weeks away. So hit the like button, share, and that notification bell is going to alert you every time we upload something new. So, and absolutely, please go to TigerBait. Try us out for $1. I think you'll enjoy the website. You'll get our text alerts for breaking news. We're going to be putting out newsletters twice a week once fall camp gets here. We'll be doing practice reports for every time we're allotted out there, Buddy and I. And so our practice footage, of course, you guys that are subscribers know how we pride ourselves on our practice footage. So we're going to have all that stuff for you at TigerBait.com. And all right, guys, I think I got just about everything tonight. I'm going to have a lot more on our Tiger Den message board in the next few days. And so thanks to all you guys participating tonight, and we'll be back here next week and maybe a little something before then, depending on some callbacks I get. So, all right, guys, good night. Y'all have a good rest of the week.